There's a wonderful gaminess to duck that really sets it apart from other meats. So today I'm going to be cooking a whole duck, breaking it down for you and cooking it as a braise in a really nice tomato and red wine sauce. So duck is just like chicken. When you want to break it down, it is very simple. To start with, we want to take off these little wing tips, just like so. Like a chicken, just as you're going through the bone, it should be very easy. So I just break that bone there, and we want to take the breast off. So just with a nice sharp knife, follow the line of the backbone and take the meat off. And you can see the breast is just coming off nicely. You basically rest your knife just on that bone and just follow. So there's one beautiful duck breast off, so we'll put that to the side. And just to remove the Maryland, I just turn it around and just gently remove the meat off that bone. Flip it over, just go around just like so. All we do now is just reveal that bone there. You can see the knuckle coming out, and again, that just shows us exactly where to cut it off. Now what I do is just place it in a little bit of flour. So we're braising this, which means we have to seal the meat off first, and the flour is going to ensure that we get a really nice thick sauce. So I'll get some olive oil here. So we want to make sure it's nice and golden brown on each side. Of course, a lot of that fat's going to render, and we'll drain that off as soon as it's nice and sealed. So that duck has been sealed off nicely now, and what I've done is just removed all of the fat from the pan. So we're just left with just a slight amount of oil. Next part is to start cooking our mirepoix. Mirepoix is essentially onions, celery and carrot. So in go the onions, carrot and the celery. So this is the famous trio for most braises, and the important thing for this is to just allow it to cook. While that's happening, I'm just going to finely slice about 150 grams of speck. Now you can use bacon for this, or you can use some pancetta. I love the smokiness of speck. So about 150 grams, and what I'll do is just finely slice that, and we'll add that to the mirepoix. So let's just add that in at this stage. We'll give it a good stir. Allow that to cook for a few minutes. I'll also add some garlic. So just roughly slice that. And herbs that I love to use, rosemary. Rosemary tomato sauce are just perfect combination. So finely chop that. So just a good teaspoon of that straight in there. Give that another stir. And that looks about right to start adding the duck. So we'll add those Marylands back in there. We've got that whole duck breast with 2 duck breasts in there. We'll just coat it in that mirepoix. Yum, smells amazing. And what we need to do now is add some red wine. When you add alcohol, you just need to cook it off for a bit, so allow this to bubble away for a few minutes. And I'll also add the zest of 1 orange. So you can see here that's reduced nicely, and that little bit of flour that we add at the beginning has already started to thicken the sauce. Of course, always season really well, a little bit of pepper, and we'll add 750 ml of tomato passata. This is tomato puree, and this will cook now on a low heat, so we'll turn that all the way down for about 2.5 to 3 hours. What we're really looking for is that meat just to fall off the bone. So we'll cook that, and I'm going to serve this with some beautiful fresh pappardelle pasta. Right, so So that's been 3 hours and that duck is cooked perfectly. I've just turned it off and allowed it to cool slightly because now we're going to remove all the meat from the bones. While I'm doing that though, we can get our pasta on. So I've got some really nice fresh egg pappardelle pasta here and we'll open that. This only takes 4 minutes to cook. So we'll add that to some rapidly boiling water. I've also added a good amount of salt to that water. So for this meat, you can just use your hands just to pull this meat apart and we'll add that to the sauce. By the time I do this, I'll reheat the sauce slightly so it's just piping hot and then we'll serve it with our beautifully cooked pasta. So now we're ready to plate up. Nice deep bowl here, a good nest of this pappardelle pasta, a nice mound of that on top. And just to finish off, a little bit of parmesan on top. You know, so many people tell me that they eat duck at restaurants, they always choose it, but they never cook it at home. I say give it a go. You saw how easy it was to do. As long as you got just a couple of hours up your sleeve, maybe a Sunday dinner, perfect way to cook duck.